Get presentation up. Okay. You're recording live?
Hi.
Woo! Hey, hey, hey. How are you, John?
Good, good, good. Happy to be here. Happy to be here. How's it going with you?
John. Doing well, doing well. We are now in that last month of summer. Weather's starting to cool down, and it's just a nice time to be.
Kids are going back to school, parents are like, okay, my days are shaping up a little differently. I'm happy about that. Me, I don't have that problem anymore. Mine are grown, but I'm watching them deal with it. How about that?
That's the real optimize and elevate is public education, right? Get some
Yeah,
back
absolutely.
around the week.
Absolutely, absolutely. It, it's funny because when the kids go back to school, it seems like your relationships get reignited as well with those other parents, and all the activities that are happening around sports, school activities, and all of that. So I'm sure it's a fun time for the parents.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Uh,
anyway, it's going to be a great one today. I'm excited.
yeah, super excited as well. Do you have any opening thoughts? I think as we
I
were
do.
going
I have a couple.
through a couple, yeah.
Yeah, just a couple. I'm I'm rarely devoid of thought. Sometimes devoid of work. Right?
Words are hard. Words are hard. That's the challenge. Yeah.
You know what? I was doing a bunch of research, and that's not unusual for me either. But one of the things that I've been looking at is connection. And as you know, with Mingle, we try to focus on how to optimize, give people a venue to really build trust with a natural way. And we've talked about that a bunch. But in my research, what I found is that people are struggling today to find true connection and authentic connection. So I just wanted to kind of talk about today, and our guest, Tim Roper, I think will be able to really interject some great knowledge into this subject. But how do people create connection in the business specific? We know that, as I said earlier, your relationships ignite when school starts again because parents specifically are interacting with other parents, and
Yeah.
you naturally get into conversation, and you have a common interest in those conversations, right? It's school or the activity you're involved in.
Sure. Yeah.
But in business, it's hard to communicate with like interest without feeling stuffy and buttoned up. I mean, just really, is it all that interesting? I find it. Not everybody does, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've talked a lot about community. In fact, we've even this is a second time we're having the same guest on, so I'm excited when we get over to that. But I think so much of what we do is built on systems and organizations. It has to come from good rapport, good socialization, and working alongside others. So I like what you're saying there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to get to that, though, you gotta have a place where you're more free to have open conversation, but you've got to have like interest, right? I mean, you've got to be able to have a topic or I call a hook to get people talking together, to really learn about each other, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. I've done a lot of networking. I'm sure you have as well. And
Yeah.
to me, it seems superficial, right?
A
Um,
lot of it is. A lot of it is.
a bunch of introductions, not a lot of meat to a conversation, but at least you get a new business, right? And then there's those kind of that lead generation type business network that it just seems like, okay, bring 5 leads. Okay, hold on. What am I really bringing to the table? I'm bringing my relationships to the table, right?
Mm,
And man, oh man, are those dear to me, right? I've spent time cultivating the relation. I've made sure that I've built trust because I like them as a person and they like me as a person and we do business together. That's fantastic. But all of a sudden, I'm just flipping 5 leads over the fence. That
mm,
seems inauthentic, first of all. Second of all, it feels like, man, um, wouldn't an introduction to this individual be more appropriate? Let
mm.
me understand your business and how you can help my lead, if you will,
Sure.
my relationship that I've cultivated, and then I'll introduce you. And it's a win win, right? You come in warm, it's something that my client is looking for or my contact is looking for, and I know this. How about
Mhm.
I just reach out to you when they have a need, right? But I don't know who to reach out to unless I've connected and had a.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and nothing's worse than someone that needs a roofer, family friend or whatever, but you're in the group and you're like, oh, let me make the introduction. I know someone in the group. And it's just a bad fit, right? You want to get to know people. So you have to have some goals when you're in a networking group. You have to have the ability to build relationships and help each other out. But you want to do that across the board. People you're connecting to a seller and people you're connecting to a buyer.
Yeah, so you're kind of acting like the liaison.
Yeah. Even if you have no stake in it.
Right. And typically you don't,
No.
other than building a better relationship with each side of that train, right? If I'm going to introduce somebody to a client or a contact, I have to have trust and understand who I'm introducing. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I mean, you can do it without, but there's a huge risk there.
yeah. So here I've got this stack of business cards, right? And oh, this one says this is a concrete person that I met somewhere. Oh, by the way, here's a card. Is that really? Oh, okay. Well, do you know him? No, I really don't know him. Have you ever used him? No, I really haven't used him. But I've got his card. You want it? And that counts. That counts as a
That
lead.
sounds like a Google listing at that point, right?
Exactly. And I'm getting to that. That is a great point. Is that sounds like a Google thing. So easy to get those business cards these days. And
Sure.
you know what? Angie's List or whatever, there's a ton of lists out there in Yelp and blah, blah, blah. All these places are giving them ratings and da 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 da. But that introduction doesn't really have value, does it? Unless there's a true trusting connection.
Yeah, that's really important. I'm curious to learn more on people that run groups like this, what works and what doesn't.
Well,
And
you
I
know
think,
what? I think we've got the right individual on board, but he is also into AI improv. We'll give him an introduction in a second. But I wanted to bring up the point of how AI is promoting true connection out there.
huh,
And, I've been reading a lot about AI and how it can target your ideal contact, who's a good fit for you, whether that's from a business perspective or a personal perspective. I think that you have to understand AI a little more in order for it to work for you. Have you
yeah,
seen those posts out there that talk about connecting you with AI?
Connecting you with AI, like making a connection across the board from, "Hey, I'm looking for a plumber," and the AI will pull that up.
Well, I don't know if it's that specific, and it might be. I don't know. But on the other hand, it's really more finding people on such LinkedIn or
Okay,
Facebook
yeah,
or Instagram that fit your profile and at least guide you to connect with.
sure.
And I don't know how often that's utilized and how successful it is. Just something I read about.
I think we've been doing this for about a decade plus, right? Algorithmic connection is not something new, and so it's just kind of the next layer of it, right? I'd
So
be I'd be open to trying that out. Yeah.
well, and if it does suggest connection, does it actually connect you? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, do I have a bot out there that I can deploy that says, okay, connect, 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 connect? And if there is, how authentic is it? Right? I mean, you've got, I don't know, up to 25 or 50 asks on day. Okay, is it important to raise my follower count to the 5 digits? And does that change my algorithm? AI change that and all of that. So hopefully we'll get into those comments. Mr. Tim Roper here. He's the co-founder of AI. Helps business scale smarter, building AI powered systems. That tends to eliminate workflows and drive real growth. That's exciting, but that's not the least of it. He's also a co-founder, which is a new way of network, which we're excited to hear. And he's a two-term Clearfield City Council. Does a lot with the city, builds community, formerly with the Chamber of Commerce. He is a connector extraordinaire. So why don't we bring Tim up with us? Come on up, Tim. Just raise your hand there.
Pause for
There
there.
he is. Jake, you able to bring him up?
I'm here. Let me refresh here. I'm not seeing the ability to pull him up on the hand here. Let's see. Could I have you hit that one more time, Tim? There we go. Oh, one more time.
Really, raise your hand low.
There we
Raise your
go.
hand lower. Raise
Hey, we got me now.
Maybe
your
it's
Maybe,
not through there.
maybe
Yeah.
AI, but I still struggle with technology.
There we go. We're back on.
Awesome. Hey, welcome, Tim. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. Thanks for having me back on here. It's so exciting to talk to you both and consider you both really good friends. So it's be fun to talk.
Awesome. So, were we going down the right road of talking about trust, connection, networking, AI, all of that grouped into this big thing of, oh my God, how do I get this tackled?
It's overwhelming, right? It's a crazy world that we live in. We have so many things coming at us. And I mean, nothing's new with all this. Is things that we've been working on for a long time. Both networking and AI have been around forever, but I think it's allowing us for the first time in quite a while to just take a fresh look at where we're at and what we're doing with things and how can we, you know, um, like this says, optimize and elevate ourselves, our businesses, our connections. Now is just an opportunity for us to really, think through what we're doing.
Absolutely. One of the things that I look at, and AI being a buzzword the last couple is that AI is available to the masses. Not that AI hasn't been at its place out there in the business world. It's typically hidden away in this nice little package that a developer or a specialist or some kind of person who understood tech. And like now, AI is becoming available to those who simply want to learn, communicate with AI, get what they need.
For the first time, you don't need to know coding. You can just go type what you want into an AI, an LLM, or whatever, and see what you get out. Now it depends on what you're putting in there or what you're going to get out. I still believe in garbage in, garbage out. And there's a lot of people out there that get frustrated with it because they're not taking the time to learn that. But now's the time to learn that. It's kind of a now or never kind of deal right now. If you're going to progress in this world, you're going to need to get to know AI, and that's what my team and myself are out doing is trying to bring people up to speed as quickly as we can, especially in the business community of what we can do to help you do that. Because now it's becoming essential. You're either going to have to know AI yourself, you either have to have someone on your team who understands it, or you're going to have to bring in someone fractionally like myself to help you navigate what's coming up because it's rapidly changing every day, and things are all going to change as AI advances even more.
Sure. What are so like I mean, you're talking about like building tools with code, right? What are some of like the extreme use cases you've seen even today, right? With like I think vibe coding's the word that's starting to take off there, right?
Well, AI is advancing in so many different fields. I know people that I've been connecting with over just the last year and a half, really advancing in the medical field. In fact, I was just reading an article, Time Magazine article of Microsoft's AI was diagnosing things better than human doctors. I know of a tool coming out that they're working on for dentistry that will be able to analyze your X-rays, and you'll be able to detect cavities even before they become a cavity. Now we're looking at more preventative care out there. But even in the business world of being able to anything that you're doing repetitively all the time, we can really automate. There's a difference between workflows and how AI is doing it. We can automate workflows
Hmm.
all the time, but now we can get into phone agents or any type of agents, and that's a lot of what my team is doing is building those agents around what a business absolutely needs. Is it a phone agent that you need? A lot of people are using that for their receptionist now because now I don't need someone to answer my phone anymore. Think of all the drop calls that you've had. I've been in sales for a long time. I know that I've missed calls, let them fall through the cracks, or two calls come in the same time, and I'm trying to decide which one am I going to take. Now I don't have to do that. Now this can take the call and navigate through that and almost filter it for me. At some point, it can even forward the call to me or give that person my calendar link. So there's a lot of different directions that we can go in with this. But right now, I think the biggest thing people can learn is just the practical nature of it. I mean, it's probably helping me save 2 to 3 hours in my day. But that's where the connection side of it comes in right now. Now connections are more important than ever.
Yeah. I just want to like on robocalling, right? Like you said filtering. That's a huge save. I mean, even if you have like a high level SDR or office manager at the end of a certain phone line, if you have a better system as a small business to filter out some of the robocalls and then sort some of those
Mhm.
um, individuals calling in to the right spot. That is huge.
Oh yeah, that's huge. I know a property manager right now who is utilizing a phone agent to take his after hours and weekend calls for him.
Oh wow.
Uh, and this, he's programmed it. It knows the difference between an emergency and a non-emergency. So you have an issue in your property, you call the number, and it's just a maybe a hole in the wall that you need to get fixed, and it's just telling that person, yeah, we'll get to it on Monday. If it's a furnace out, then this can forward the call or text it to the the human over it, and they can take over and make sure that that's getting taken care of quickly. But but yeah, now it's filtering through robocalls or just people just, some people freak out about things more than other people. So it may be, just a non-emergency, right? And it could say, hey, no, Tim's going to get back to you on Monday. Give them the assurance of it and take that information for them. So yeah, there's a lot of with agents. It's going to be amazing of where they're really advancing with this.
Curious on those calls, how far does AI go? Analyzing caller. So, for instance, let's say that it is a property. You've got a finite amount of they have a fraction that's calling in property management. But does it learn who these callers are? So we have got somebody calling in every week, a gripe about this and a gripe about that and a gripe about. Although they're real and although they need attention, you can tell that it is lack of a better, the small stuff, right? Sweating the small stuff. Can it identify those types of calls from people who are
Definitely depends on the tool you're using, but yes, that is possible. Even like tools like a lot of people use Otter AI to record,
Right.
conference calls, whatever they're on. It starts to learn the voices on there and can identify who's on there, and then it will attach that name to who that person was. But this particular tool that this individual is using, he can even go back and listen to the calls so that he can train it even more. You can give it any type of voice out there. If you still want more of that robotic feel, so the people kind of feel, that it's just AI and it's answering the phone call. But I mean, think of I don't need a call center anymore. I don't need organizations that maybe um, just taking those receptionist calls. There's a company called Jill's Office that takes those type of calls. Now I can just have the AI do it. So it's really something that's going to should keep all of us on our toes. We're all going to have to shift here and see you know how it's going to impact our specific professions or industries.
well, and there's pundits out there that are saying, and they're on both sides of the fence. It's going to improve our work relationship. It's going to improve our work. And then you've got the other faction who's saying, no, this is get ready for the layoffs. It's doom and gloom out there. AI is going to take over. There's going to be a ton of jobless professionals out there. Where do you fit?
Yeah, sometimes I go back and forth on it, but where my feelings are on it is those people who learn AI are going to be the ones keeping jobs. So if you're willing to dive in, it's complex, but it's not. You can learn some pretty basic prompting if you have a grasp of the any language out there, but the English language of how to communicate. You're going to be getting some sort of responses out of AI. I was just reading an article of a CEO who laid off 80% of his workforce because it wasn't because of AI, it was because people weren't willing to learn that. And they wanted to bring in people who are willing to use it, be innovative. I use it more as a brainstorming tool than anything to collaborate with it and come up with my ideas. And it's almost like my muse, right? But any profession out there, I was just meeting with a mortgage guy yesterday, and he's like, "Wow, I'm really watching this to see how it's going to impact my industry because for a lot of items, you may not need me to, if I input just the calculations of what it takes to get a mortgage, I could just input it there." So I really think it's a shift for anybody in a position to really push that consultant side of things so that we keep that human element in.
You hit upon something. One of the questions is where does AI, in other words, we've got all these processes
Yeah.
automated, and AI can do so much for the tedious, repeatable tasks type thing. But where does AI stop, and where does the professional or individual or the person come into?
We need to start having those very hard conversations, and it's a this is advanced farther than even they can come up with regulations for it, and it's going to continue to advance. I mean, it was scary. I was just listening to Gary Vee the other day, and they were asking him, "What's the craziest prediction you have with this?" And he's like, "That your grandchild is going to marry AI." And he's like,
That's not far off.
"No."
That's not far off. Yeah.
So we need to start having these conversations, and I think we need to start really jumping in with our young people and helping them learn this. And none of us have seen this. I keep getting told all the time, "Well, you grew up with this." I'm like, I didn't. I may have seen the internet come out in the '90s, but this is far more than just that. If I can go tell it to go book my hotel reservations, restaurant reservations. It knows how to work a mouse. So these are some, difficult things that we need to start talking about. And even a lot of the creators of founders of AI that have been creating this from the get-go are cautioning us to maybe take a step back or two. But on the other side of this is amazing. The tools that you have at your fingertips. I can produce a shell of a website. There's still a lot more that goes into it, but I can develop websites really quickly. I can develop a PDF really quickly within seconds. Um, I can write articles within seconds um, utilizing these tools. The data side of this is phenomenal. The way it can, analyze data on the fly, the deep research that you can do with many of these platforms to lead generation. Talking about that, I can just use ChatGPT and do research on any part of the country on what businesses may need my services, or even uploading my list from the networking group I go to and asking it who are the best people for me to be connecting with for what you know about me.
Yeah, and
So
that's what I was talking about earlier. Exactly that. Kind of, how do you target your ideal customer? And talk about the ideal customer. There's a lot of elements in businesses. Right? How do I train my bot agent to introduce me with the right question to the right people before I?
you've got it. You can do this. It's just a matter of learning it and telling it what you want it to do. Um, I know some people are still skittish of telling it about themselves. And, my feelings on it, if it's just like the internet, social media. If you don't want anybody to know about it, then don't publish it out there, right?
Right.
If you don't want AI, I've yet to seen a case where what anybody says to their AI tool that it's filtering into mine. I can't go to it and say, "Hey, tell me everything." Uh, about any person out there.
I don't know if they've changed this, and it would be hard to search, but I believe that a certain threshold of chats, anything that was like maybe unpaid or whatever, is publicly indexed on Google.
Yeah.
And that was a big SEO headline a couple weeks ago because you could be chatting about anything and not know that your chat thread is being indexed.
Right. Yeah. I think we need to really look at almost like HIPAA.
Uh,
Um, right now, somebody could go subpoena ChatGPT or OpenAI and say, "Hey, we need access to your records, and anything that you've told it will be out there." So I think there needs to be some regulations on there about that out there. Um, but I've told it a lot. It's great to tell it, "Hey, ask me." I can give it an idea that I have, and based on what I've told it about me, poke holes in my ideas and challenge my thoughts like no one has ever done before.
So, okay, so we utilize AI, but yet we've got to connect you. Where's the jump off? Where's the point where AI is done and John and Tim and Jake take over?
yeah.
That is the big questions I'm asking. Yeah, I use the term that I sit at the crossroads of innovation and connection.
Yeah.
So we are at those crossroads. Now I need to trust you more than I ever have had before. Is the information I'm getting accurate? Is it genuine? Is it from you? We need to kind of get over this stigma of using AI as cheating because at one point we talked about this on my podcast once spell check was seen as cheating. It was we were all told we're never going to have a calculator in our pocket. That's kind of cheating to even use that. And look how far we've advanced with this. So we need to dive into the connection side of things and get to know each other more and see where those crossroads are with innovation. We can have tools like this where we can get together virtually, and we need to utilize those tools, but we can't forget that there's still a human nature of this. And we end every podcast that we do with "Stay human and let AI do the boring stuff." But if that's because we need to, enhance ways that we can grow a business. We have one client that we've worked with to help her grow her business, and by the tools we've implemented, she was able to go hire two people. That's the mindset that we need to have is how do we use this to increase things? Maybe not, it will take away jobs. There's just some jobs that we don't need anymore. We've had that in history and they've got it wrong every time. The steam engine was supposed to ruin everything and it only improved things, right? And the industrial revolution, the internet, oh my goodness, it was, freaked people out,
Yeah.
but it's only enhanced our lives. And if we have that mindset with it, I think and we can do better with it. But it's going to be those people who are utilizing it that way that are going to be successful. But that's it's kind of I live in kind of two different worlds here: the AI world with Prompt Commander and with Peak Connections, trying to build better connections out there and find better ways that we can connect. Kind of move past the sales pitch of everything, and let's dive down and let's get to know each other and let's build better communities together.
Yeah, and you think about community and what we're seeing today. Talk and utilize the almost every.
Buzzword for sure.
Yeah, 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 it's a buzzword. But on the other hand, what is real about that is understanding that true connection takes that human. And although you can be introduced to somebody, building the trust and truly connecting something that doesn't it may be an introductory, certainly is not a connect. You agree with that statement?
I would, and that's why we need to look at different ways. And so I've been in the networking world, and I know I must be onto something big because I know even people in my own community here. I had someone text me and say, "Wow, the things you're posting out on Facebook right now are really getting people talking." So I recently left my position at the Chamber of Commerce, and for a long time, I've just been observing and watching this of how we interact. I've seen people come to a networking event 30 minutes early and stay an hour late to get to know people. And I'm like, what did we do that hour that we actually had the meeting? We listened to everybody's pitch. We listened to a presentation. Maybe that person should have been coached a little bit more on how to present and what we needed to hear. um, you know and we've just, I think, been kind of wasting our time. I think it worked for a time, it served its purpose, but maybe it's time to reinvent the wheel with this and find ways that we can be more meaningful and intentful. Let's take that 30 minutes before and that hour after, and let's combine it into the one meeting that we have to get to know each other. I think that that fits in kind of a lab atmosphere is what I've utilized. And let's test things out with each other. Let's all have a seat at the table instead of just one person having a spotlight. And maybe I can see something a little bit differently than you can in your business because I'm not in the day-to-day mix of it. So I may be able to give you a few thoughts that may be able to work. And just like the dinner table, I know at my dinner table it can get heated sometimes with teenagers and you know uh, don't breathe my air type of stuff. But
Yeah.
and sometimes that can happen in a conversation like this. I've sat in many city council meetings. You know, sometimes you have to take a deep breath and take a steep step back and rethink things. And sometimes people are going to call your baby ugly with it. And we have to think about, okay, maybe this is true, right? My wife did it just to me last night. She called me out on some things, and it was hard. I had to, swallow hard and realize, you're right. I need to take a better look at myself on how I'm communicating in this situation.
So
So
tell
I
me
think we
more
should.
about this lab scenario. Got some ideas for labs wrapped around, but I wouldn't call business affecting.
It's connecting. In fact, we use the term we're breaking up with networking. Um,
That's
we
good.
don't want to do networking anymore. And if that's what you want to do, that's fine. Stay in that world. We're going to go create a different and better with that. And we use that lab format. It kind of came up because Prompt Commander AI, we have web labs because we'll build websites, and we call them AI infused websites, where we're using AI tools and still keep that human element. But what we'll do is we'll put two businesses on the hot seat, one or two businesses on the hot seat, and we'll pick their website apart in front of them the and it's kind of an interesting thing to do. People get a little nervous because they think their website is put together very well, and it's not to trash on them or to show them anything wrong. It's just to show them where they can improve.
Sure.
It's kind of a different environment to do that. So we took that lab concept and we thought maybe we can do this within the world of connections as well. So we have what we call a business lab where we focus on, voice, maybe it's presentations that you need to work on or speeches that you have. We have growth where we can help you, maybe it's personal development that you focus on. Maybe you just need people to be accountable to and tell them what you're working on and give your actions plans around that. And then we have business around it where we can, as a group, do a deep dive into your business with certain criteria that you bring into the group. And as a group, we can take a look at maybe areas of your business that you're not thinking of. Maybe it's your SOPs that need to get improved on. Maybe you're not thinking of a certain step in there that's just messing things up, and we can help you see that. And then we're service focused with Peak Connections. We'll do regular service projects, and we've been already teaming up with in my local area of just nonprofits and community organizations. Particularly, we have an organization called Park. It's the Pioneer Adult Rehabilitation Center where they help adults gain meaningful employment, and we can go in as a group and maybe help within that organization and help lift them up a little bit more and give that organization maybe the impact that they need. And we talk a lot about putting, our money where our mouth is and going out and doing things. This gives us the opportunity just to give maybe a couple hours a month to go help somebody out within the community, and help as business organizations to be able to show that we actually do care.
That's fantastic. It's exciting to hear that you're wrapping around the connection of business, whole process of uh, developing a relationship into occasion, and then sharing that with us.
It's exciting to see their eyes glow as they find out, wow, people actually want to come help us. I think service is something we talk a lot about, but we all tend to think, oh, I'm too busy for this. And what a great way to get to know someone working shoulder to shoulder with them. Now I can see actually how you engage with other people in that kind of that lab environment, right? And kind of observe you from afar and see how you're going to interact with an adult with a disability. Not everybody has that ability to do that, but maybe that's people that I'm looking to do business with, is how do they handle maybe a high pressure situation. And I think, and anytime I've done service with people, people just open up and they become more vulnerable to you as you're serving, and tell you about their lives and get to know them.
Yeah.
And I just think that gives you a better, to me it's putting you know giving up the self promotion for service.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it seems to me like when we put that into peak actions and talk about that community, it really starts to resonate as true community, bringing people together with common, common issues or common characteristics or common interests.
Oh yeah, I think this just opens up a whole new way of, and this is no secret sauce, right? This is something that we've all known of how to get to know people, and um, I think this gives you even an environment to get past. I've dealt with a lot of introverted people walking into a networking meeting that just want to go sit in the corner. This
Yeah.
kind of brings that pressure level down quite a bit, to where I'm not here to perform. I'm just here to be myself.
That anxiety that comes along with performing, right? Yeah, you're in a room full of individuals that are very likely A type, and you're sitting here as an introverted person going, "Wow, I don't want to talk about myself, but you've got so much to share."
I
Right.
I got to interrupt for a second because I actually started a book on small talk, an audio book when I'm driving. It's always playing, and in it they were talking about how they're extroverts, and one of the things that they're constantly like doing is like chatting the whole conversation. And they interviewed a couple of introverts, right, and just talked about like how they go about small talk. And they're like, yeah, what I don't like about striking up conversation with people is, when I get someone who just will not stop because there's no place to go. So yeah.
Yeah,
Tim, I think you were gonna say something. Go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh yeah, I think we can all. My wife reminds, she's a little more introverted, and reminds me, maybe you could listen, because I'll always say, you need to talk more, you need to get out there more, and I'm constantly reminded, well, maybe you can shut up and listen. And it's very true. We all hear it. The quiet one in the room is usually the most dangerous person, because they're navigating their way through the scene, and when I'm just talking, I'm not picking up on all those details out there. Or I have ADHD, and it's a tendency to mask, because especially if I'm in an environment I don't feel comfortable with, I want people to perceive me a certain way. And I
Sure.
think sometimes we can have that misconception with sales pitches and 30-second commercials is, um, one individual I thought, wow, this person is way extroverted and he gets up and he's funny and says all these things. Well, it turns out that was causing him a lot of anxiety when I really got to know him. And he's like, I would rather not do that. But he's like in an environment like you're describing where we can just sit at a table and all share our thoughts. Um, Probably thrive in that type of environment.
So it seems like Peak Connections is it's almost like a regular networking group gets married to a mastermind. Right?
I'm hoping it's that. I'm hoping that it is. I'm hoping that it's let's take the good things from all of these groups. And I don't want people. I say breaking up with networking, and I know that I might have offended a few people saying that out there. It's not to discredit what you're doing. It's those are BNI and chambers and all that are amazing organizations, and they're going to do things that my group isn't going to do. But I think it's just time for us to rethink that. And if we can take the good things from all those organizations, I've been for years. You had Kelly Sylvester on. Him and I have been for years getting to know people and inviting people to lunch and not giving it a name. For a long time, we would just try to invite people to lunch that the other person didn't know. So you get to know people more. And I think in that type of environment, we're all human. We want that connection. It's always been interesting to me. We all need connection to survive, but it's the one thing we fight the most on is I don't necessarily want people always around me. But I think when you just kind of bring down those walls and let people just naturally develop relationships, that's when the real magic happens, not the forcing of, getting two people together. I love to introduce two people, but there's no control I have over that after that. I can introduce them and they may not connect. And but at least opened up that opportunity. I love to be the bridge out there to maybe opening up those possibilities and being a connector. But you know, sometimes those work and sometimes they don't. But if we're not doing that, then I think we're missing a lot of a lot of opportunities to open doors.
Absolutely. And I think we talked about trust. And part of one of the things that I always ran groups was I had to have a high level of trust with the person that I would be. And it's very difficult to get to that level if you don't know those individuals, don't have the time to, don't have those discussionary points. You get to hear the pros and cons of certain from an individual. You don't really know and trust what you're introduced. So as the matchmaker, if you will, it's that in the singles world where your friend introduces you to a friend, right? Well, how well do you really know me and really know this other person to say that we're a good, right?
We're always going to be doing the dating scene out there. It's funny. I met my wife actually on. Uh,
Really?
I was the guy. I was always getting set up, and I think we need to be careful. Like just because I introduce somebody to somebody else, you know, one I hopefully I have the trust with them that it's okay if they don't,
Yeah.
and have that mindset out there. It's okay if, but don't feel bad about things that about that pressure there. Just get to know each other. Something happens. And that's how I was always getting set up on. I joke, my grandpa jokingly, I was 25 when I got married, and I was like too old to be married, but he was ready to take a ad out in the newspaper to
Yeah.
announce that I was single out there. But it took a while to get to know and find the right person for me to want to somehow still with me. Uh, but we can look at business the same way. We've got to get to know each other. We're always going to have those situations. I call it train stations, churches, and libraries. When you open the doors, you're going to get all kinds of people there, and there may be those people that I just don't care to be meeting with. But if we don't get to know them, then we're not going to have those signs of okay, that's an individual that I just don't want to be around.
That's really well said.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
it's I think that's just what it comes down to. And that's what I want to build with Peak Connections Group and even with AI is, let's connect these, crossroads here. And I think we could further even more of of everything out there if we can really utilize this and make our lives better so that we can focus more like this and just be other.
Sure. Yeah, and I think you're putting in the work, and I think I've had the opportunity to talk with you and learn more about what Prompt Command does and aspires to got an exciting.
It's a lot of fun. It's been fun, and I appreciate all the guidance that you've given along the way out there as well. It's going to be an adventure, and I'm excited for it. Uh, we're just in exciting times, and I think there's still good out there.
Oh, certainly. Yeah.
Pull yourself back from all the divisiveness out there. In city life, in local government, we always talk about the cave people, about virtually everything, and the NIMBYism, and they're really the vocal minority so many of the time. They scream and shout out there, but one, they don't usually know what's going on behind the scenes, and you get to talk to them, and I'm like, okay, you don't have as many people out there as you think that are following you. I think that's what our world is going to. There's still so much good out there for us to build upon.
Bringing good back again, right? Making good great. How many of the right?
We
So
need more optimistic people out there.
yeah, absolutely. But what's interesting is that I think optimism and goodness need a louder.
Yeah,
So, over the past 5 years or so, we've seen that divisiveness, and I think it's waning now. I think the louder voices becoming optimistic, louder voice becoming more involved, more engaged. All of those great we want folks to do. At least I want to surround myself around. So the divisiveness I think has been identified, right? And let's start moving towards it's okay to disagree, but do it civilly.
there's so many ways that we can do that. One of my favorite books is The Five Dysfunctions, and it can really show you how to bring a team together and call each other out on things, but still be friends. I would love this platform, a bigger platform of this, because I do want to call out the divisiveness and ways that we can do things better. And I think the majority of us out there want to work together, but we allow the people with the louder voices kind of overshadow that. And I would love any opportunity I have out there to shout out all the good that's going on. I've spent the last 9 years in municipal government trying to just connect the good things going on in my community and highlighting those things. And I was pleased. I just ran in my primary to get a third term on the city council and did relatively well with that. And I took it as a compliment that people said that I was being so positive and just showing the positive things that I was able to impact. And it's a team effort, but
Mm.
it's hard to shout yourself out sometimes. But to focus on those things instead of all the negative things. Sure, there's going to be things we have to fix better, but if we just and kind of humble ourselves and work together, we can do that. So the more and more I can shout that out and have that voice, I welcome it.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. And in knowing you, it's not that you seek out affirmation, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with especially when you're putting the effort out with such a great.
Yeah, I agree.
And Clearfield City is lucky, you know. They've got a lot of good people, including you. So good.
It's a good community. I welcome anybody to come and check it out. I'm always willing to show people around. It's a very unique community, and it's been fun to even bring it onto a national level and showcase it that way. We're probably the most um, diverse community in our county, probably one of the most diverse communities in the state. And it's fun to see everybody come together and just work together and want to be a part of that. And when you just change that image of a community, it just attracts so much good into it.
So, Tim, how would you like people to reach out to you?
I'm on social media a lot. You know, I welcome calls and texts. You know, 801-682-6296. My number's public out there. So uh,
It
it's
will
on
send you an AI filter before you go there, so no
right.
spam calls come in.
I laugh because people will say I'm not available as a city council member. I'm like, well, my personal cell number's on the website. So give me a call anytime. Um, we have our podcast, our Prompt Commander AI podcast. We have about 19 episodes out there. You can find that. Promptcommander.ai is our AI consulting side of things. And then peakconnectionsgroup.com is the website for that. And welcome people to come and check that out. We'll be launching a lot here in the next week around those meetings, both virtually and in person out there. So yeah, welcome anybody to reach out to me. Find me on LinkedIn. I love connections. I love to get to know people. I love to hear people's stories and just bring people together and kind of just, you know, we just get way too judgmental sometimes about people. But when we understand their story and where they come from, you know, it does you. I can learn just as much as the young man who comes in and he empties my garbage every night, right? I love to sit and talk to him and hear his thoughts, and he has just as much to offer as I do in the world. So that's I wish we could just see things more that way.
Absolutely. Any of those conversations.
Yeah, they do. Let's just bring a human element to everything again.
Well, fantastic. I want to thank you for your time here on Optimize and Elevate. We're going to end the session. However, I invite you to stay after. Let's continue the for a few minutes.
Absolutely, I always love that.
Thank you again.